All right. Well, if you guys want to start, I guess Wade, let's start with you because I was late to the Barren Cross show, and I know you had that demo, right? You ordered a demo from a magazine. There it is.
Ordered this from a magazine. I saw a little blurb. It was actually not in a Christian magazine. This was probably even before Heaven's Metal started, maybe, because I don't remember what year Heaven's Metal came out. But I saw this
Oh,
in the back of Metal Edge or some magazine. It had a little blurb. It was just, this big. It had a little picture of the band, and then it had like the album cover, and it said something about, I don't know, it was worded like, Metal Assault or one of those kind of things. I'm like, ooh, I'll have to order this. So I, ordered it direct from the band, and back in those days, it took, 2 months to get there or whatever, but, so
yeah.
finally got it, but it was the limited edition blue vinyl.
Oh,
Wow.
Cool.
sweet.
And that's super, super like rare and super in demand if you can get one of those.
Yeah, I ordered this in '85, so I've had it since. Gosh, I guess I don't know if it was junior, senior in high school. It depends if it was spring or fall of '85. I don't recall, but yeah, because Striper was the first band, obviously Christian hard rock metal I got into. But then Barren Cross was I think the second band I ever bought that was Christian. And I love this album because whereas Striper had a little bit more of the slick, polished sound. I mean, their first album was a little bit more raw, Yellow and Black Attack, but still they had a little bit more polished LA
Yeah.
sound. Even though Barren Cross was LA, they were more like, fist in the air, full on assault kind of metal. A little bit more power metal, if you will, or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I love this album. And then Mike Lee's voice, when I first heard it, I'm like, my gosh, he sounds like Bruce Dickinson. We got a Christian Iron Maiden now. So yeah, I think when I ordered this too, it came with like a shirt. It had just what was on the front of the cover was on the shirt. I don't have the shirt anymore, but yeah, it was like a blue shirt with the white Barren Cross logo. So
Okay, well, since I got both of you on here, you guys are both huge Kiss fans. And on the documentary, Wade talks a lot about Kiss. So, Lego, we didn't ask you anything about Kiss. How did you start listening to Kiss?
Um, I mean, I started back in high school. I don't even remember what spurred it on, but I really didn't get too heavy into Kiss probably till probably like 1990. And no, it was probably like 91 when Revenge came out.
sure.
And that was like their comeback. That was their comeback album. And after that, I was just like, I was totally, I was totally a Kiss fan after that. And then I went back and got the whole back catalog and stuff like that. I like Kiss back in the 80s, and I loved Crazy Nights, which everybody hates, but I love that album. And but yeah, and then once Revenge came out, I became a huge Kiss fan. And then and then as you look back, Revenge really isn't that good compared to the stuff previously. Honestly, 70s Kiss is incredible, and it's they were a big influence on Striper. And when I met Michael Sweet, he goes, I was wearing a Kiss shirt, and he's like, I love Kiss too. We love Kiss. He's like a huge Kiss fan. So, matter of fact, he stole a riff from Ace Frehley on the Reborn album that nobody ever calls him out on. He stole Snowblind from Ace
Oh
Frehley.
yeah, that's Snowblind's a great song, man.
I can't remember the song that Striper that he made into a Striper song, but he totally stole that guitar riff.
Hey, everybody's influenced by something, and it shows through, right?
Yep.
Well, it's funny because I think like a lot of Kiss fans are split on it. It's like 70s Kiss or nothing, and then you got the people who gravitated to them in the 80s and weren't necessarily fans of the 70s. But I really like both eras. I mean,
Well, yeah, me too.
70s Kiss is just the classic. It's awesome. But then, I mean, I loved Creatures of the Night. I love Lick It Up, Asylum, Animalize. I think those are all great albums,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too hip with what they're doing now, but I mean, it's kind of irrelevant now. But yeah, I mean, probably the best era. I mean, musically, like was probably with Bruce Kulick.
Mhm.
I mean, I love Ace and Peter and stuff like that, but Bruce is an underrated guy.
Oh yeah, Bruce
He made
is
some
great.
great albums with him. I think they kind of treated him badly when they got the reunion together. I don't know why they wouldn't let him put the makeup on, but they kicked him to the curb. But he's still gracious and he's still friends with them.
Oh
And
yeah, very much so.
I have a
Yeah.
lot of respect for Bruce Kulick. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. I've listened to a couple of recent interviews, and I mean, he's like said in the most recent one I listened, he's like, why would I ever say anything bad about that era? He's like, I got to be in Kiss during a great time. It was great for my career. I mean, I was in Kiss, He's like, I have nothing but fond memories of it. So yeah, he's always very gracious and seems like a cool guy, you know.
Okay, so let's. What'd you think Barren Cross? First time you heard him?
Me?
Anybody? I mean,
Uh,
I was late, man. I totally came in on Atomic Arena.
well, that's when I came in.
So that's going to be pretty much, I mean, those two albums, Atomic Arena and State of Control, are my favorites. And, Rock for the King I thought was good, but it's, to me, I haven't really heard it that much because I was listening to Bloodgood and Bride and Striper and bands like that when this was out, and I didn't even know anything about it, really.
Well, I got to admit, for me, Rock for the King was basically Believe, the EP with some extra songs. You know?
Right.
They stuck on the title track, Rock for the King, It's All Come True, and Dying Day. And otherwise, it was the same 6 songs from the EP. But I still, to this day, a couple of my favorite Barren Cross songs are Dying Day and It's All Come True. Those are just so heavy and punchy, and, you can hear that Maiden influence on them. I love all their albums. I mean, they're all great. But I think if I had to pick, it's going to be, for me, maybe Atomic Arena overall.
Yeah, the first Barren Cross song I heard was off the Deadlock off of California Metal.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, who's Barren Cross? I didn't know they. It was kind of like when I got Detonation by Bloodgood, I didn't know they had another album before that.
Yeah.
It was just, we were just so out of the loop because we didn't have the things that we have today.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's the thing. I mean, there was no internet. You had to, see a blurb in the back of a magazine or word of mouth. Somebody had to tell you about them, and then you had to order it because the stores weren't carrying it yet because they were such a new band.
Yeah, I stumbled on them completely by accident. I was at the local store in my home in Pontiac, and I was just shopping through the cassette section. It was 4 CDs, and
Sure.
And I was just looking through there, and I saw the little Enigma logo. Remember that little weird logo they had for Enigma? It was like a little triangle with I don't know what it was. I don't even know what it was supposed to be, but I saw the Enigma logo, and then I saw Barren Cross, and I was like, oh, let me look at this. And then I saw a couple of song titles, and I said, well, these got to be a Christian rock band. So I bought it on a whim, and I was hooked. But I would have never picked it up off the shelf. I wouldn't have saw the Enigma label, which I related to Striper at the time.
Sure.
And there was which is strange because 95% of the bands on Enigma were not Christian bands.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Right.
they had Lizzie Borden and everybody else. Yeah, Striper was the one Christian band until Barren Cross.
Lego, you got Michael Sweet's book, don't you?
I do.
Go reread it because he tells you all about that Enigma logo.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, because it's like I don't know, almost looks like an eyeball and something else. I don't know. It's
Like the all.
No, that's not what it is, and I can't repeat it on here.
There. Yeah.
I can't say it on here. It's
No, that's fine.
It's offensive.
Is it?
Yes.
I got a real quick story about that picture before it disappears. I don't know if I can pause it. There we go. So that was taken at Cornerstone in, I think, 85. I think the only album they had out was Rock for the King. And I went to that show because I had won tickets to Cornerstone, and I didn't know anything about the fest other than it was this big Christian fest. Never been to it before. So I won tickets, and I picked the one day I could go. It was a one-day ticket. So I went the day Barren Cross was playing, and they played the main stage. So that was when it was up in Grays Lake, Illinois. But my friend and I are right in front of Jim Laverty. Surprised you can't see us in the shot, but literally right in front of him, leaning on the stage, I think I told you this story last time, Mike, but at one point, Jim Laverty's looking at us, and he kind of goes like this, back up. And we're like, what? And he's like, back up. We're like, why did you tell us to back up? Well, they had flash pots sitting right there. We couldn't see it. It was right behind the monitor. It boom goes off, and we were standing right there. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But it was great getting to see them play the main stage as this young, new heavy metal band that a lot of people hadn't heard of yet.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Was Pastor
That's
Bob
when they were
there?
wearing the blue and white spandex. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hideous.
Was Pastor Bob there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great day because, like I say, I picked the day that had the most metal bands because I think Saint played and Barren Cross played, and I just picked Sunday because it was the day it was loaded with music I liked. So I think Philadelphia played that year too, which if anybody remembers Philadelphia,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
a great
they
show.
had,
They put on a great show.
What was Search and Destroy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was,
It was
the album
on
that they were touring for or whatever.
Yeah, that was on the Righteous Metal. K-Tel.
Oh,
Righteous Metal. Has the horrible cover.
Yeah.
It's like brown, and it has all these
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah.
I had that on cassette, and I've been trying to find the CD version for like 25 years. So.
Well, I just got that Heavy Righteous Metal. I just got the album for like $20 off eBay. I couldn't believe it.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely springing for this.
Yeah.
Was it sealed?
No, it's not sealed, but I just hung it on the wall.
Yeah, I think the cool thing with Barren Cross is, like I say, they seem to be following in Stryper's footsteps because it was like young new band out of Orange County. You know, they get signed to Enigma. You know, they did get a video on MTV. Crying Over You was on MTV. You know, I think I might have seen Deadlock or some other video once, but I mean, they just never quite achieved what Stryper did, but they were kind of like on their heels the whole time.
Well, didn't they have Killers of the Unborn? Wasn't that a video too that got banned?
I don't know if I ever saw that one.
Yeah, I thought that.
I never heard that, but that would have been a horrible song to try to promote your band because it was. I mean, it's just some of the things they're saying in there wasn't like radio friendly. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been like appealing to the masses.
Lay Her Down, Commence to Drill.
Pieces in a garbage bag.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I remember wearing that album out though, because I remember I got Atomic Arena. I've still got the vinyls of them all too. But you know, of course, back in the day, you would copy everything over to cassette so you could listen to it in your car. But I went on a trip to Wisconsin. We were going to youth camp, my buddy and I, and driving from here to Wisconsin. I think that's the only cassette we listened to the whole way there, the whole way back. We just kept looping Atomic Arena and cranking it up.
Awesome. This is interesting because it was produced by the Elefantes, but it was on Enigma. That's rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is actually, it was kind of before even the EP here was done by the Elefantes.
Really?
Yep. Engineered and produced by Dino Elefante. So
okay,
they were with him since the beginning. But that's the thing. That was before, you know, Elefantes were like a big name even, because then they started doing a lot of producing and Pachyderm Records. They started their own label, but this Barren Cross kind of predates all that.
Well, if you look at just Enigma alone, look at one of probably the three big bands were on there. You had Stryper, you had Barren Cross, and you had Guardian. And those were pretty much the big three.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
What I found interesting about Guardian, since you brought them up, is, you know, Oz Fox, like, produced or whatever, First Watch, the first Guardian album. But I think it was you, Mike, that told me, because I read your Stryper book, they talked about it, that Oz Fox took lessons with Tony Palacios.
Yeah.
I thought that's funny. Here he's producing their album, but he's taking lessons from Tony, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm sure Guardian wanted, you know, just to attach his name
Mm-hmm.
to the project. You know what I mean?
Well, you probably had to back then.
Yeah, it helped sell records if you could say produced by Oz Fox or Stryper, you know, put little stickers on the albums or whatever. Well, do you remember the band Mass? Have you ever heard of them?
Oh, yeah.
So they had that album Voices in the Night, which the big sticker on it was produced by Michael Sweet of Stryper, you know, so he produced that Mass record.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was always a selling point back in the day.
And out of the two, I think the Mass album was better than Guardian, but that's my opinion.
It's funny, I hadn't listened to First Watch in a long time, and I just listened to it like yesterday again. I'm like, man, that's a really good album, and there's a lot of cool stuff on it.
Yeah, I really like that album.
And it makes you wonder why they didn't have a second album on Enigma. You know, it was probably by their choice.
Yeah,
be my guess.
I just found the sound to be very different though, because I mean they were still doing their sort of sci-fi metal thing on First Watch, and then all of a sudden Fire and Love comes out, and they went for more of like a groove kind of hard rock thing. You know, totally like sort of changed their style. I love it too, but I mean, I still think First Watch, I always wanted to hear them do Hyperdrive live. And they never would. I'd always yell it out and they would never play it, but you know.
Do you have the Voyager and Fusion?
I don't.
Oh, that's a really good one. I mean, the demo's really, they cleaned it up as much as they could. There's one song that's really bad, but that is a really good album.
I wonder if Jimmy Rose ever sang any of those songs live.
Probably not. I
Actually,
wouldn't think so.
I just found something on YouTube the other night, this week, a couple nights ago, and he did do something off the First Watch album, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know Jamie ever sang that stuff.
What do you do? Miracle?
No, it wasn't Miracle. It's one of more straight ahead like rock songs. It wasn't, because Miracle's the more the power ballad kind of thing, but I don't know what it was.
It's
It wasn't
not the
I'll Never
first.
Leave You. No.
Okay.
I think he would sound good on that song, and I think he would sound good on like Marching On or Rockin' Victory, something like that.
Marching
Yeah.
On, he'd be pretty good at. That's the other one. That's, because that was on California Metal.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, who's this Guardian band, man? These guys sound amazing.
And remember, it was spelt different too.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
you. Well, Mike, I think you said you've got the Metal Mardi Gras tape too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's back when Guardian was wearing like the outfits with the capes and
Yep.
everything.
Yeah, they were the space guys,
Yeah, they looked like Kiss circa Unmasked with the capes and stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hilarious recording. I bought it on DVD like 15 years ago, and it's got a commentary track with Pastor Bob and Jim Laverty.
Wow, didn't know it even existed on DVD.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get together and watch that. It's hilarious.
I got the VHS, but yeah,
it is. There's a lot of low points on
yeah,
very very few high, but it's good. It's good nostalgia.
yeah. There's some, like the guy who's trying to be a comedian that really wasn't that funny on it, and
Oh, that guy's. Oh yeah, he's terrible.
talking like he's British or something, and then
Yeah,
the other
he's
guy
horrible.
who was like Father Guido Sarducci going around interviewing the band members.
Yep. Yeah,
But there
I
was some cool
remember.
stuff. I remember the band Cross Force on there, and I thought
Yeah.
they were awesome. And I'd never heard of them until that video. I'm like, wow, those guys are good. I really enjoyed all their stuff. And Hero, I love seeing Hero on there because I always wish that's the band I always wish would have put out a full length album because I thought their 2 songs on California Metal were great, but nothing ever became of them.
Right.
Well, their guitar player went on to be in Deliverance. He's on the first Deliverance. What's his name? Glenn something. Can't think of his name now.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, for me, I mean, Atomic Arena is always that one album when I want to hear Barren Cross. That's usually the album I play. It's either that or State of Control. Here's the cool thing about what Enigma did, and because I have both the tapes from State of Control, but it looks like you either got Your Love Gives or you got 2,000 Years. Escape in the Night was not on the tape.
Yeah, my vinyl has Your Love Gives.
Okay.
Oh, no, it
On the
doesn't.
tape.
No, my vinyl doesn't. It has 2,000 Years, but it doesn't have Your Love Gives.
But I had the CD. Of course, I had the Benson version, but I also had the Enigma version, and there was 2 Enigma versions, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And one of the Enigma versions had Escape into the Night on it.
I have both of them, and it has one or the other. It has one of them has Your Love Gives, the other has Escape in the Night. I remember Escape in the Night was the song that came out first. And I thought, oh man, this is kind of cool, you get they swap the song so they get you to buy it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think with the whole Your Love Gives thing, I think Benson probably required like more of a CCM. They wanted a CCM type thing on there to put in the Christian bookstores. I think
Right.
that's why that happened on there. And that's probably one of the best songs of the whole album, honestly.
Yeah, I've got
it's
the
a really good one.
Enigma version of the CD, and it has both 2,000 Years and then a bonus track of Your Love Gives.
Okay.
So it's got both. I don't own anything that had Escape in the Night on it.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Isn't that on the re-release?
Yes, the re-release. Yeah, the re-release that came out earlier this year has both.
Yeah, I have to pull it out. Yeah.
And it's oh man, the remaster is really good.
What ticks me off about the remasters is that I thought they would adjust the mix and make the intro to Out of Time a little bit louder.
Right. They didn't touch
So that
it.
you can make the guy on the radio, because he's so low, so you crank it up to try to, when the music kicks in, it's like, it just blares you out of the place. And I wish they'd have raised the levels on that.
Yeah. Well, talking about Atomic Arena, or not Atomic, State of Control, I would say my favorite songs on this one are probably A Face in the Dark.
Oh, I love that song.
Inner War. I just thought Inner War, the lyrics were so cool. 7 years later, I'm still at war. The flesh and the spirit try to even the score.
Yeah.
I think we can all identify with that song.
Yeah.
The Christian walk is hard, right? We stumble, we fail. We're still struggling all these years later. I just liked that song. I thought it was an honest song.
Mm-hmm.
And then, even Love at Full Volume, kind of a goofy song or whatever, but it's a cool one, But then,
that was the one
years,
that was the one. When it first came out, I really liked that song, and now I really don't care for it.
What song?
Love at Full Volume. It's okay.
I mean, the stinker of the album is Bigotry, man.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's just,
If they would have put Your Love Gives and Escape in the Night in the place, oh, man, this would have been, super killer.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we talked about this before. I'm not necessarily a ballad guy, but I really like Your Love Gives. I think, again, powerful lyrics. Here I am, I'm on my knees. You're the one I truly need.
Mm-hmm.
Longing to hear words of love. It's just, it's a powerful ballad. But 2,000 Years, man, that was
that's a great song.
Like one of those pinnacle Barren Cross songs. That one's very Iron Maidenish,
That one, I love that one. Crying Over You, I really like that one, and Stage of Intensity.
Yeah, Stage of Intensity.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's really cool because it's such a journey. It starts out with the acoustic and then just comes punching in and has the breakdown in the middle, and it's like a roller coaster ride kind of song.
What's
I think Barren Cross is good at that.
Is when that came out, I was working at a grocery store, and man, this was it came out a week before my birthday. It was in May, and I kept running to go get carts out of the lot because I had my jean jacket on. I had my Walkman in there, and so I was putting that on, and I just couldn't stop listening to it. So that's pretty much what I did. I tried to, just do whatever I could to listen to that while I was working.
Yeah, I remember. Just remember when we were in the youth group. I was a youth leader or whatever because I'd graduated from high school. We were picking up a couple of the youth group kids at church or at school one day, and we were just cranking Stage of Intensity in the car as loud as we could while we were waiting for these kids to come out, getting stares from everybody. That's okay. Any of you guys ever hear this one?
Yeah, of course. That's an awesome album.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of like Mike Lee's little spin-off side project. Have you guys seen Barren Cross live?
I never did get to see him. Nope.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think how many times I did see him. I know I saw him at that Cornerstone show the first time. Then I saw him open. Well, actually, they were the headliner. I don't remember what year it was, 88 maybe. But it was – anybody remember the band Rapture? They put out one underground cassette demo. Then they changed the name and became the Moshketeers. But they were called Rapture before that. So Rapture opened the show. Then Sacred Warrior, then Barren Cross. And it was the Atomic Arena tour, and Barren Cross was headlining. And then...
What did Sacred Warrior play?
The album hadn't even come out yet, so I didn't really know who they were.
Okay.
That's the thing. And they came out, it's like, who's the Sacred Warrior? That's a cool band name. And they came out, and Ray opened his mouth, and I was like, dumbfounded, like how awesome they were. So that was a cool introduction to them, because I didn't know who they were. But yeah, they hadn't released the first album yet.
Did they have any demos or anything?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Yeah, they had T-shirts for sale. But they didn't have a demo cassette or anything.
Wow.
So, and then I saw Barren Cross on the State of Control tour. And then they played Cornerstone again, but it was that time where they had a different drummer. It wasn't Steve Whitaker. It was some dude with long, dark, curly hair. For a short time, there was some other guy drumming with him. And so he was on that. That was Cornerstone main stage again back in Grays Lake, but that was 89 or something.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see him again for years. And I saw him we went down to GMA week in Nashville back in like 95 or something. It was when Rattle Your Cage came out. And they would have showcases all over town at night and have all the artists playing. So we went to some little club and Barren Cross was playing, and they were playing stuff from Rattle Your Cage. And then I saw them at Elements of Rock in like 2013. So, and that was a show too where they had a standing guitar player because I guess Ray Parrish couldn't come or something, so they had some other guy filling in on guitar. But so yeah, I've seen him a few times, but always a good show. I mean, I always enjoyed Barren Cross. Jim Laverty is such a good bass player, you know. I mean, he's just got that, you know, Steve Harris kind of feel, very busy bass player, you know. A lot of gallops and stuff.
So why do you think that they haven't managed to get back together and record an album? I think they have some kind of beef with Mike, but it seems that way to me. I mean, because right now there's a resurgence in this, and you know they could easily do like a crowdfunding effort, get the money to do it. People want it, but yet you know Mike Lee's off doing. He just announced he's got 2 projects that he's working on, releasing albums and whatever, and they just can't seem to get it together. And I just think that there must be some kind of internal thing that they just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that time that we saw him at Elements of Rock, I know that's when Mike Lee was calling himself Michael Drive, you know, and he changed his name, and he was living in France and doing some different kind of music project, and just I think flew over for that one-off gig for Elements of Rock. But like I say, I think if there's a point of contention, that might be where it's at, you know.
Yeah, because for a while too, remember he was going by his like his real name. Remember, I forget, it's like some kind of Polish name or something. It was I don't even remember what it is, but he was going by that for a while, and then he went with Michael Drive, and then he went to something else, and I don't know, you know, what he's doing now. Every once in a while he'll post something on Facebook and stuff, but you know, it just leads me to believe. Well, I know that Jim he's busy. He does some kind of like multi-level marketing type thing. He's like huge into it. I heard he's like very, very successful at it. So he's probably very busy with that, but you know, those guys obviously at one point had a great love for music. I just find it hard to understand why they couldn't get together and record an album. I mean, nowadays you don't have to be together to do it.
No,
you know?
Yeah, Mike Lee or Mike, whatever he calls it.
People want to hear it. I mean,
send his vocals in, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they announce today on the internet, hey, you know, Barren Cross is going to record a new album. It's going to be out, July of 2021. People they'd be elated. I mean, there would be so much interest in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're waiting on. It just stinks that, there's so much more they could do. And I understand these guys are pushing 60, right? Or darn near it, or late 50s, I don't know, mid 50s, whatever they are. Yeah. But I mean, people want to hear it, you know? And
I would
Les
love to hear something new from them.
Les Carlson's still suiting up, and he's like, what, 70?
70, yeah, he's still
I mean, come on. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, I know, like you said, Jim's been, he owns his own business, he still works in the film industry because he'll be out in California for 2 months working on a movie or something. He worked on that show Nashville when they were shooting that. I don't know what he is, if he's like a grip or something behind the scenes or whatever, but he works in the industry. And then the drummer was still probably is, he was a California Highway Patrol officer, And then I don't know about the guitar player. I thought I'd heard he was like selling insurance or something. So, they all, family men and got regular jobs. But like you say, I think nowadays you can record without having to be together. You can do it fairly economically, the tools that are out there. So I'd love to hear something new from them because we still got White Cross making music and Blood Good and Striper and Sacred
Hey,
Warrior.
we even got Triton making new music.
Yeah.
And Jim's on that album.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on one of the songs.
Cool. I think it's interesting because, like I say, that if you would have told like 15-year-old us that we'd be sitting here 30 years later, 35 years later, talking about, Barren Cross and these bands, nobody would have believed it. But, a lot of them are still around, which is the incredible thing.
Yeah.